everybody. I'm Kevin Henderson, the Grayson County Judge Executive. Thank you all for being here. We want to thank Senator McConnell for being here. We've been able to speak with him about some local issues here for the past little bit, and we sure appreciate him showing up and showing concern for our community. So without further ado, I would read his bio, but I'm sure everybody here knows Senator McConnell. He's well known in the United States Senate and throughout the nation. So without further ado, Senator McConnell.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I just had a business roundtable that the judge and others organized, and we covered a lot of the topics here in our country. The status of vaccinations, problems with getting people back to work, raging inflation. But I'd like to address the most significant international issue we're all confronting at the moment. The precipitous withdrawal from Afghanistan is an utter disgrace and a stain on our national honor. Let's go back 20 years to why we went into Afghanistan in the first place. There was no optimism that we were there to turn Afghanistan into a Western-style Jeffersonian democracy. We went there because it was in our best interest to prevent Al-Qaeda, which attacked us on September the 11th, 2001, to have a safe haven in which to operate and attack us again. This effort, even though we've been there for quite a while, has not been a continuous conflict. There have been a couple of periods of significant conflict, but look at the last year, for example. Not a single American service person lost their lives in Afghanistan last year. So where we were was with a force of about 2,500 to 3,000 American troops for the purpose of counterterrorism and ongoing training of the Afghan army. In fact, what we were doing was keeping the lid on. It was total cost on a yearly basis, probably less than 1% of the Defense Department budget. And it was not a place where terrorists could operate with impunity. The last two presidents wanted to leave Afghanistan. I was involved in discussing with both of them the arguments why they should not. President Obama was inclined to do it. President Trump was inclined to do it. But in the end, it was President Biden who made the final decision to leave. I think that was a mistake. But even if you thought it was time to fully withdraw, the calamity that we're witnessing on our television screens is outrageous. I don't think this administration could organize a two-car funeral. And in this particular instance, they're endangering the lives of Afghans who were our interpreters and collaborators and on our side during the conflict, and Americans. So what the president's left with here, I gather, is to try to get enough military personnel in there to defend the airport and try to get people out. And I wish him well at this point, but this was a colossal blunder of gargantuan proportions. And as I said earlier, a stain on the reputation of the United States. With that, I'd be happy to take a few questions if there are any.
Senator, we had a rather contentious school board meeting here in Grayson County last week regarding the mask mandate for children. About 120, 130 people showed up to protest children having to wear masks during school. With your history of promoting masks and vaccination, what would you say to those people and others who think like me?
Well, I think the only solution to the pandemic is vaccines. As some of you may recall, I was a polio victim when I was a youngster. I've studied the history of that disease. It took 70 years to come up with 2 polio vaccines that work. And believe it or not, that disease is almost totally eradicated in the entire world. With Operation Warp Speed, which is part of the CARES Act, which was essentially written in my office last year as the majority leader, we found not one, not two, but 3 highly effective vaccines in less than a year. Really a modern medical miracle by any estimation. And so the solution to this, without even dealing with the mask issue, is to get vaccinated. And I believe one thing is absolutely true. There are a lot of rumors about what's true and what isn't, but let me tell you what's true. Almost 97% of the people in hospitals across America are unvaccinated. So I would counsel folks here in Grayson County and across Kentucky, and for that matter across the country, the way to get on top of this and to end it is to get vaccinated. Anyone else?
You and Senator Paul differ in some of the instances with COVID-19. Are there conversations between you two, or how does that go about?
Oh, you'd have to ask him his opinion. Obviously, we serve together and talk all the time. Okay, well, thanks a lot, everybody. Appreciate you coming out.